Hi. Hey guys, my name is Akshay. So I had a opportunity to go to the SUGCON. I typically go to all the SUGCON Europes because it's a lot of fun. So this time it was in Antwerp, Belgium. It was quite nice. It didn't have a big airport, so everyone had to like either go to Amsterdam or they had to go to Brussels and drive over or take a train. But the actual venue was really, really nice. So usually like the last couple of them, I don't know, they weren't as spacious, but this one was really, really nice. It was in a zoo. It's called a room with a view at the zoo, which was pretty cool. It was right in the city center. There's a huge whale skeleton hanging on top of the main room, but it was really, really nice. A nice venue. Everything was pretty convenient. Um, so Dave, who is no longer the CEO of Sitecore, but Dave was there. They had a really nice, energizing keynote. They were all talking about how they're using AI, how they're using AI not just for their own, for the customers, but internally how they can use AI in whether it's building, whether it's coding, or anything that they're doing. They're trying to do everything and everything they can so they can get most out of the AI story from their own thing. So that was kind of nice. They talked about the concept of an intelligent DXP. I think this is a new terminology they're going to use now and in the symposium and stuff. So they were talking about how it's a never-ending cycle of content and experience and everything in between and how they can use AI again and everything that they can. So Roger was mentioning quite a bit about that one as well. Um, they also talked about XM and XP. So they did mention 10.5, which is going to come later on. They talked about how they realize how important XM and XP are to their ecosystem because there's use cases always that don't always match a SaaS product. So there are companies who have regulatory issues, zone issues, just corporate compliance issues, or whatever the thing is, challenges, I should say. But they always see a need for an XMXP install on their own infrastructure or in a specific geographic zone. So Roger did talk about how important XM and XP are to them, and they will continue to commit and do more things on XM and XP, and it won't be a dead product is what the sense we got from it. Um, and then Vaibhav did a demo on Sitecore Stream that was kind of interesting. So before that, Bala had given me an overview of Stream, the one he was working on. And I was able to see a couple of things here and there, but it was really nice to see the actual Sitecore Stream demo. He talked about how they were trying to improve it with every single release. So at that time, which is a couple of months ago, um, they made the configuration a lot easier. So you'd still need access to the cloud portal. That's where you'll get all the IDs and the keys. And then the module itself, the install that you would do on XM and XP was much more streamlined. The configuration was much more streamlined. The brands that you configure was much more streamlined. And then he kind of walked through the demo of having multiple brands, so having Coca-Cola as a brand, having a Nike, Starbucks as a brand, and how you can configure different brands with different tone of voice, branding guidelines, and then while you're generating content, being able to switch it between brands and generate content up to 5 variations. He also talked about uh, a flavor of Stream being available to every XMXP customer for free. So you won't have all of the what do you call all of the features that Stream could have, but it would have a subset of features for free. So he mentioned anyone with XMXP should reach out to their rep to be able to get access to the cloud portal, the key, and the ID and stuff like that. So that was kind of nice. He also showed different. I have a blog post on this on our site, but talked about the different phases in which they're going to release until and up to being able to use Stream for translation. So automated translations is what they want to do. They want to be able to do a lot more with Stream because Stream, they look at it as a service, not a product. So they want Stream to be integrated into every single Sitecore product and then be able to do things based on, your subscription level. And then they want to incrementally release different features for different products on Stream. So that was kind of really, really nice to have a look at that. And then they talked a lot about, so Danny, who's the CTO of Sitecore, talked a lot about developer experience, how they want to make it easier from the point of being able to install a NuGet package all the way to how you deploy it, how the APIs that you talk to, whether it's a Stream API or whether it's a CDP, how it would be very, very convenient and consistent across all experiences from a developer perspective. And I don't know, they included the developer experience part in pretty much every Sitecore presentation. So it almost seemed like that was one of the most important things, one of the things that was important to them that they want to focus on. So it was kind of nice. Um, and then the biggest thing I think was the Sitecore Marketplace. So this is something which I've actually been working on with Karasi and Justin on. So they showed us a demo of Sitecore Marketplace, having an app in the marketplace, whether it's free or paid, whether it's only for a specific customer or for multiple customers, having the concept of a SaaS-based marketplace. So if you can think of it, a specific module in order to be installed on XM Cloud, and they will focus more on XM Cloud at this moment in time, but uh, how that would have to be hosted by a developer, what all the phases you would have to go through. There were two talks, actually. This one was one, and then there was another one from Justin. And that kind of walked you through what would you need to do to get an app in the marketplace. Of course, it's still pre-release, so they're only working with a subset of people to build apps. So when they do release the marketplace, you'll already have a whole ton of apps on there. So they talked about the process, being able to have different types of apps, how they're going to make sure that they look consistent with the XM Cloud UI, things of that sort. So that was kind of a really nice demo. They kind of showed a demo of an app which can replicate content items from one XM Cloud instance to another. I believe one of the Sitecore agencies is working on that particular app. They didn't mention who, but it's been worked on. So that was kind of really nice to look at that, a demo of that. There was a demo by Rich Carroll on pricing. They basically went through how they want to make it very competitive in the market for customers to buy XM Cloud or any of the SaaS products. They talked about being able to work with existing customers. They talked about looking at all the other players in the market and trying to price it accordingly to be more competitive. So that was it was a little bit different because I don't think pricing is never talked about openly in certain markets, especially in the enterprise market. So that was kind of different to know about that. Um, And then they talked about June 4th. So they mentioned it a couple of times. So apparently they are going to release or announce something on June 4th. So June 4th is not that far from now. It was far back then. So I'm curious to see what exactly they will announce on June 4th. Hopefully something big, which will impact. And then I'm assuming that they'll follow that up in Sitecore Symposium for that. Um, and then we ended up giving out the Hackathon Awards. So Sitecore Hackathon Awards usually are given out at SUGCON Europe, whether the teams are from Europe or not. Usually there's at least one team from Europe, but Gabriel happens to be in Chicago or in the Chicago suburbs. So he wasn't there, but we did get the award and I mailed it out to him for the hackathon. But overall, It was pretty good. There were quite a few people. I would say a couple of hundred people easily. They were quite engaging. There were quite a few presentations on XM Cloud, AI, as you can imagine, everything was AI. Sitecore Stream was also pretty strong, so that was kind of good. Marketplace was the one though that was pretty dominative in terms of what they wanted to cover. And then the infinite cycle of content and being able to work on the operations of that. So overall, it was a really good SUGCON, and I think most of these topics will again you'll see in the Sitecore Symposium. Um, the Sitecore stream part, the demo was good. For the marketplace, sorry, I keep going back and forth. For the marketplace, uh, I can drop some links in the chat, but they went through pretty much in detail. So if you started from zero, what would it take for you to actually launch an app in the Sitecore marketplace? They went from 0 to 100. So every single step that you need to do, who do you need to talk to? How do you give feedback? How do you do different types of touch points? So for instance, for an app in XM Cloud, they talked about a dashboard touch point. So when you log into XM Cloud, that's the dashboard you see. That's one touch point you can have with your app. There's a context touch point where if you click on a specific item, you get the context touch point. So they talked about several different in-depth of how you would build a marketplace app. So that was actually really nice as well in that. So those are all the generic stuff. I can answer any questions that you guys might have on a specific thing that you want to talk about or ask about. But it was a good conference. Usually it's 1.5 days. Starts in the afternoon on the first day and ends pretty late in the evening on the second day. And as usual, it was a lot of fun. Just it was nice to meet all the people again. Do you guys have any questions I can answer? You can anything specific you can think of?
So for the marketplace, there's one question I have. So Sitecore themselves, they are also putting up some apps over there in the marketplace.
I believe so, yeah. So they want to launch the marketplace with a few apps already in it, not bare bones.
Mhm.
So from what I understand, there's a handful of apps that they're launching. So Sitecore would have some, and I believe a few partners are working on some apps as
Sure.
well.
Are you planning to put up any apps in there?
Am I planning? I want to. I was looking at the SiteCron as a SaaS-based app for scheduling because, if you wanted to auto-publish at a very precise time or you want to do content operations. So that's something that I'm looking at, but again, I think they are in a closed beta kind of phase at this moment in time, but that's what I'm hoping to do. But they also,
And
I did mention translation, sorry, go on.
no, sorry, I mean, if you have something to add on the marketplace, please. I have some other question.
No, go ahead.
Yeah. Was there any discussion or talk about Content Hub?
Content Hub, they talked about it from the point of view of Stream, that they're
Okay.
integrating Stream into pretty much every Sitecore product they can think of. And obviously it'll be different. So it was kind of interesting that you brought that up because people were in the XP related stream in the future, they were showing how it would have uh, automated translation, right? And then people were asking about what about Content Hub? And again, that's even though Stream is a centralized product, the integrations into different products has to be done by different product owners and stuff. And that's something that they mentioned that once Stream has the capability, then that can be used in places like Content Hub and elsewhere to do the same function, which is translation. But I didn't get a chance to attend any Content Hub specific presentation, but in the ones that I did, it was pretty general in terms of developer experience, marketplace, and stream.
Okay. Yeah, good, thanks.
So Akshay, like the Sitecore stream, is that built to work only with Sitecore products, or like it can be integrated with any other product, like we know Sitecore CDP and personalized, right? These are SaaS service, so these can be used in non-Sitecore websites.
I'm not 100% sure. One of the things they did mention, which was interesting when all of these questions were happening about being able to use it on Content Hub and things, they did mention that they want to expose API endpoints to stream. So technically, if they do that, then you could pretty much use it in anywhere, right? So if you had the brands configured on stream and you want to translate something, or if you want to create content based on a specific brand, they did mention that they want to open up API endpoints, which will let you do that. So technically, if they do that, you should be able to use it in others. I don't know how the subscription or anything like that would work, but it seemed like it would be possible.
Okay, got it. Thanks. Was there any kind of a discussion on the Sitecore XP product in the future version, or?
Yeah, you probably joined a little bit late, but so they did talk about, so Roger mentioned that they do want to focus on Sitecore XP and XM. They talked about 10.5 and beyond, and they want to focus to make sure that they sustain the Sitecore XP XM customers, is what Roger had mentioned.
Got it. Okay, thank you, Akshay.
Yeah. Anyone else, guys? Any other questions?
Do you want to just talk a couple of minutes around Gabriel's work in the Sitecore Hackathon? What exactly was the project?
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I'll do that. Yeah, so it was kind of interesting. So this year's hackathon was more of show us what you got more than anything else. So typically it's a 24-hour competition. Teams of 2 to 3 people participate in it. This time there were like 52 teams from about 23 countries who participated in it. It was pretty good. So what we thought was, let's see what the best idea would be if we just let them do whatever they want. So every few years we do this where when you try to give people ideas, I want something to make the content author's life easy. I want something to make the developer's life easy. It's very like restrictive in a way, but this time we opened it up. So as you can imagine, there were a lot of ChatGPT and AI related submissions. This one was too. So it was kind of interesting. I don't know, to see a lot of them, but this one was something that you could use right now. So his module was more of using Sitecore SP and being able to generate a report using natural language. So you could say, create a report for the list of items which don't have versions or which have multiple versions, things like that. So you could use natural language to generate a SPA report. And I don't know how many of you have tried generating reports in SPA. The first time I did it, I pulled my hair out. But after that, you kind of get used to it. So that was Gabriel's idea. He was the only one on the team. He was a single person doing it, but it was something which was different, something which can be used right now. It's up on the Sitecore Hackathon repo if you guys want to pull it and use it, but it was the most effective one to use. There were a couple of others which were kind of interesting. One of them based on telemetry on JSS. There was one where you don't have to deploy in order to create a new component in XM Cloud. Don't know how that worked. I think it worked with like a JavaScript embed kind of thing. So a lot of good ideas. It's just his stood out as the most polished and the most usable at this moment in time.
I checked his GitHub. Was that API? It's that AI API, and he tried to connect, and then at the end of it, we can ask whatever we want. It's pretty.
Yeah.
It was pretty cool. Oh my
Yeah.
God.
He did a good job.
Absolutely. As a single person, oh my God.
Yeah,
That's
it's a lot of work.
absolutely.
Yeah, I saw the demo. It was pretty good. I was
Nice.
also curious because I know everybody's going to throw in all this chat GPT and stuff. So
Yeah,
I was just curious, like what exactly was it different? So I was just looking at it.
yeah. No, it was good. We should get him to demo it sometime. I do have, I mean, the repo has the video in it. So if you want to
Yeah, that's where I checked it. I was out of I was curious, so I went and checked the demo.
Yeah, he did a good
I
job.
think Sitecore Singers was also something closer.
Something related to AI as well. I don't really remember. There were quite a few
But
submissions.
it was more like the text box as a kind of like so light version of Stream, I would say.
Yeah,
Like you embed your brand for things, and then it would just give your sentiment analysis and text translation or whatever. Like in every text box, it was enabled.
yeah. And also, while I remembered the couple of the other apps they talked about in the marketplace, also included SEO analysis, analyzing ADA related like accessibility, which was really nice. They showed demo of the accessibility of running it on a page on the
nice.
site, and it'll give you the scores and how you can improve upon them. So that was kind of neat. Sorry, I just remembered it when you said SEO.
Okay.
Any other questions, guys?
I don't have a question, but this was awesome. We really missed the con, but now we know like what happened.
Yeah, no, and there's no North American SUGCON this year, right? Because of the symposium later on. So, but the Australian one is on. So I don't think they're doing the Indian one this year either.
Right. Oh my God. Are you going there?
No, it's too far.
Right. Yeah, from US, it's like 26 hours or something. Yeah. Oh my God.
Any other question from anyone before we wrap it up? Okay, perfect. Akshay, thank you. As usual, pleasure hosting.
Thank you for having me, guys.
Yeah,
Thanks,
everyone.
Thanks, Akshay. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.